I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Ward 1. Present. Ward 2.
Present.
Ward 3.
Present.
Ward 4. Ward 5.
Here.
Ward 6.
Here. Item number 3, City Council Roundtable discussion concerning team building. And with that, we're going to pass over the microphone to Ms. Watson to guide us through. And Shelton's here. No worries.
Of course.
Good.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. And I just wanted to start first by saying a greeting to the public. I'll speak more at 6 just for a little bit, but for now, just thank you for coming and welcome. You're kind of witnessing a momentary kitchen table where each member of our council is here as your representatives to listen to each other, reflect on recent community conversations, and build on the common vision and hope of the elected body. Understanding one another and working on strengthening personal relationships will benefit each one of us as they decide direction on business for our city. You will notice the lights have been dimmed except for that around the dinner table so they can concentrate on one another and hear from each other's minds and hearts. Today we ask that you respect this sacred conversation and listen quietly to allow them to have the interaction and honesty that they need with one another. And for the council, I just wanted to thank you for being here. I know it's harder for some of you who work full time, and so we appreciate your efforts to get here a little earlier than you usually have to on Wednesday night. Just a few thoughts, and it's about local government, which is fundamental to our democracy. This country was founded on the idea of a system that takes pride in their freedom and representation. Governing isn't very neat and tidy, though, and quoting one of our nationally known public speakers who teaches at one of the top schools for public service, he once said at a national conference of elected officials, "Governing is messy, and often, as you have learned as city council members, 2 plus 2 does not always equal 4 in the minds of our residents, because sometimes they don't understand or have all knowledge of it. But our work as leaders and city officials requires that we put our heart and our minds towards what is best for our community. And in many ways, this is a noble calling and somewhat sacred conversation. It calls on us to have the best foot forward and put ourselves there. You are volunteer public servants, attending to the matters of the city while leading full lives. Some of you work full-time to sustain your family. Others work and they have kids to raise, and you do that all as other leaders in your family and your community as well as this job. Our focus today then is to pick up the conversations that were left incomplete and the restoration of some of the trust that has been broken around this particular circle. As community discord is fed into the situation you find yourselves in, it's because some things have not been fully communicated, but we should all be mindful that words matter and actions matter. In order for restoration and the high performance to come back among us, it is important to find a common ground, focusing not on where we can't agree, but reminding ourselves how crucial it is to work together for the good of the community and as well as your own personal health. These are important times for our city. I shared from a teacher recently who said it's not change that people fear so much, as rather it's the result of losing what they don't know about. As someone coming into our community from the outside, I see that dynamic at play because there's been a loss. Going back to our country, which was founded on not trusting a king or for the government to work for the people, we fight for that freedom fiercely today. So I leave you in this conversation, although sit in the audience with the rest of us. Honest discussion and confession can be cathartic. And last Sunday, as my pastor gave a quote, I found it pretty powerful and appropriate maybe for tonight's discussion. When we release our shame, our baggage, our pain through prayer, we start healing by God's mercy. So may tonight's conversation among you bring clarity and understanding and commitment to move forward with renewed energy and appreciation for each other's diversity and strength. One small exercise before we go, so just put your hands out like this real quick. Did this at a conference once. And so just turn it upside down and just release and feel that to go and have your conversation from there.
Thank you. Thank you, council members, for being here. I feel that we, as Joey mentioned, there has been some discomfort, and we haven't been able to fully understand what transpired in the last couple of weeks, last month. And I think that there's an incomplete conversation that needs to take place. And hopefully, I'm hoping that we can have a kind of discussion about how do we correct some of the mistakes that we've made, and how do we turn the page and work together in a common goal so that we are able to move this field of this forward. So I'd just like to open it up, starting with Ward 1, and then we can make our way up to sort of answer any questions, any concerns, any incomplete conversation that hasn't taken place.
Actually, you know, I'm going to start with Ward 6. I'd like to kind of hear from you.
I don't really know where to begin on something like this. I mean, I've never been part of a round table like this, so I don't know how to, I guess, initiate what is being asked.
Sure. So just for clarity purposes, we've obviously made some tough decisions. For me personally, we have not fully been executing the city's vision, the city's goals. I have a list of projects that we've touched on, and quite frankly, I'm to the point where there's an incredible amount of momentum and excitement in the city of Douglas, and yet we haven't been able to deliver investors. We haven't been able to deliver the public with exactly what we were all elected to do. I have a story to share. I've welcomed a lot of investors to the city of Douglas. Grupo Mexico has been here, looking, scouting. We've written letters to the president. And yet we have a master plan that dates back to 2002 and was adopted in 2012. So here I am presenting to people the potential that our community has, and yet we don't have the master plan on our website. Nor do we have any incentives for big corporations. So I asked the question, when I interact with people and they tell me personally, Mayor, we want jobs. How can we get jobs here? And each player within our government should be doing what they're assigned to do. And I want to hear from you, how can we turn the page so we can bring back the attention to economic prosperity, to infrastructure, to move the prevention project forward? How do we work together as a team? And that's why we're having a discussion here today. And we can go back and forth as to why certain decisions were made, why that vote took place, because I want the public to have full understanding as to why these decisions were made as a governing body. And I'd be the first one to speak on things that I've seen firsthand, because I am here as a full-time mayor, experiencing each and every single day things that have not been carried out successfully. So that's why we're here today. So we can talk about team building, so we can talk about working together, so we can figure out how can we move the city of Douglas into that beautiful, innovative border community. Because right now, we seem to be at a standstill, and there's a lot of distraction going on outside. But us as elected officials, as leaders, we can bring the focus back to where we were a couple months ago. So that's, in a nutshell, the purpose of this discussion.
Now that I have a little bit of, what we're going to talk about. You mentioned why we vote in certain ways. I mean, with me, like I said in my statement, we know things that the public doesn't know. We go through situations that the public is not with us. We go to AMC, the American Mexico Commission. We go to different, the League of Cities where the majority of us went. We have been especially at the AMC, we've had conversations with investors. We have not been prepared. And sometimes I feel like council gets the blame for things that are out of our control, like the master plan. That should already be discussed. That should be somebody getting us together. Where's our vision? We're so diverse here. We're so different that we can still come up with, a plan to carry the city forward. We can all agree on that. Whether we've all been brought up differently. We've all come from different places. But our intent should be to push the city forward to get those jobs that the people want. But, if we're not prepared, we can't get anywhere. We can't go with a plan from 17 years ago because the economy isn't the same as 17 years ago. It's different. We haven't been AMC. I had an individual wanting to bring a bowl game to Douglas, whether that's realistic or not, depending on some people. I didn't have the information. Give us information. Where can we set up shop? The companies. It's frustrating. And again, the public doesn't know that. They automatically think the mayor's in charge of all this. The council should be in charge of all this. The council wants to raise their taxes. The council wants to do this. But there's other proponents to this beast, to this machine that we call our local government, that we have to inform the people what each of our roles are. And sometimes, I'll say it like this too. Even though we have to wear multiple hats, we have to hold those accountable for whose hats we are wearing. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what a lot of the public does not understand. And I mean, I'm a pest here at City Hall. For those that work here, they see me. I go to the gym, I walk here. I'll be here 3-4 times a week. I'll ask what's going on. I'll see what I can do to help. I try to stay, up to date with the happenings of the city. And a lot of the times, like I tell you, even though I come 4 times a week, I still don't know what's going on. And it's taken you know, these past few weeks to realize we have not been prepared. We haven't done things the way they should be done, and this should be a learning experience for all of us, that once we mature in our office, you know, we let the people know what's going on, we inform the people, so when new elected officials come in, they know what their role should be. They know what everybody's department head's role should be, the city managers, attorneys, and so forth. We should be informing the public more, because, you know, look at how Douglas has been the past few years. It's because of mismanagement. It hasn't been happening overnight. It hasn't been happening in a couple of years. But we need to get back on the ball, and we also have to let the people know what we're responsible for and what others are responsible for.
Okay. Councilwoman? Would you like to go, Ms. Lehman?
Thank you. When I think about the city as a whole, I've been a resident for 30 years, raised my kids here, still working. I'm raising my granddaughter, and I don't know what direction Douglas really wants to be. You know, I feel that there's a lot of people that like a quiet retirement town. They, you know, live within their means. We would like to see, you know, the streets paved and fixed up, and I would too. And I think that what we have to do is we have to take care of what we have. There's no reason why we can't use the money that we allocated to repairs to use that as a payment for a bond issue. And then, you know, I'm not a finance person. If we can find an underwriter that would underwrite, say, $10 million for 10 years, use our payment for that we have right now for fixing it, and then we go as far as we can, and then we go for the next thing. And that's one. The other thing is we have to capitalize, like I said, on what we have. The airport is being underutilized. I think that in order to bring revenue into the city, we should explore the possibility of leasing that to the people that use it. And they pay the city in, and we won't have to pay for the upkeep, of course. And that's all in negotiation. But there are plant managers across the line that do use the airport. And I think that maybe if we approach them, they would be amenable to some kind of an idea. As far as the golf course goes, you know, I'm a golfer. I don't go very often, but we used to have a lot of people from across the line come and play in tournaments, and they enjoyed it. And they brought in a lot of revenue, and we should recapture those types of things. I always say that the cattle pens is where we can expand. And there again, I have a farming background, but I'm not a rancher. I don't know how we could do those things, but I think we can explore those things. And maybe bring the auction house down. And I think there's one in Rojas. We'll bring that down here, or else partner with them. So capitalizing on the things that we have. As far as the people are wonderful, and that's why I've lived here 30 years. The schools are fantastic. You know, we're busting at the seams, and so if we can take those things into consideration, Cochise College, #1 in the country, we have to advertise those stuff. And then I think that will draw people down. Now, I don't know if we want to be Bisbee and be an artist colony, but certainly there's place for the artists that we have here. But I think if you pick, a couple of directions, I think that would be more worthwhile for our vision.
Well, where do I start? I second everything that Councilman Halpern and Lindemann have said so far. There's so many things that need to be fixed or addressed for the community. That need to be addressed for the good of the community. I'm the newbie here. Actually, Friday is going to be my 7th anniversary living in Douglas. And like I said before, when I was appointed here, I love this community. It's welcoming. I love raising my kids here. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this is for them. It's for them to have more things to do and stuff like that. Now, one of the main issue we're here sitting talking about is where do we go from here, from now? Whatever happened in the past, we need to continue moving forward. But how do we do that? I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the last time where we don't agree on things, the whole body. We're a governing body, but we have to have a vision. We have to have where we want the city to move forward. And that's one of the, to me, that's the main point for this roundtable conversation. And how do we go about that? Regardless of like Councilman Grijalva said, yeah, we're all different. Yes, that's the beauty of it. I see it that way. That we can sit down and talk about things and where we go from now. What's next? What do we do? Regardless, or with all the things that we need to address for the good of the community, there's that humongous potential too. The port of entry is hopefully going to bring a lot more jobs for people. As most of you know about that, the high school is over capacity. We were awarded by the School Facilities Board more square footage to build for that high school, taking in consideration that port of entry that might happen pretty soon. So I mean, it's that opportunity that we need to address now, moving forward and being prepared for that. So again, the main for me is where do we go? What do we do now to have a better working relationship and represent the community of Douglas as they should be represented?
Shelton?
Okay, testing. Okay. Oh, I got a number of things to say. First of all, I'll have to agree with you with the high school. It's, oh man. Some of you that work at Douglas High School will not realize where you're at. I mean, sometimes there's so many kids out there in the hall, you can hardly even talk, walk, or do whatever. Anyway, unlike Mr. Lindeman, we have a great school district here. I don't care what people say, we do a great job, and that's something positive, we can build on. To me, I look at this, and I think one of Douglas's biggest potential is to maybe have more snowbirds come. Because these snowbirds, they come, they love Douglas, but we've got good friends from the Yukon, and they say, I don't want to tell anybody else about Douglas, it's just so nice, I don't want to be overrun. Okay? So, and not only that, if these people were to come, well, they have money. Instead of them driving their RV, they might just go ahead and buy a house. Of course, the big one is the port of entry. And this port of entry is something, we've been working on 10 years or more. And that's going to be the key. We have that built, we'll have warehouses, we'll have truckers in here, and that's, to me, the big emphasis we should be thinking about. And once again, I think we need to have teamwork. I've been in education now over 50 years. And, being a coach and being a principal and being a superintendent and all of these things, I haven't seen so much teamwork yet. So we're going to have to do that or forget what we're saying here today. And I know finally, last week I got a chance to talk to you. I've been around 8 months, 7 months. And so we have to have that. And we don't, we're not gonna go anywhere. So, that's about what I'm gonna say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you said that, I'm saying.
Can you hear me? Okay. I just want to say too that I was born and raised here in Douglas. I lived all my life here. I went to Douglas High School here. My kids all went to school here. I put all my kids through U of A. One of the things that has always come up is that we don't have enough kids to do here. There's no activities for them. We talked about a community center, but we really haven't done anything about it. The port of entry, yes, it's a major project. It's something that we need, but it has been a long time in coming. We've been working on this 10, 12 years. You know, how much longer is it going to take? Unfortunately, since I do work, I'm not able to go to some of these meetings like the AMC. I'm not able to go to the binational meeting you had in Alberta the other day. So sometimes that lack of communication too is not there. It's not communicated to the council members. And you're right, there was a comment made that whatever happened in the past, happened in the past, yes, but we still can't ignore it. We still have to work on it. The issue is still there. And we have to find a common ground. We have to find a way to work through it and move forward. And yes, we are not all going to agree all the time, but yes, we also have a right to express how we feel without fear that we're going to get talked down for it. And so we do need to move forward. Downtown, most of the businesses, you know, have closed. What can we do to bring more businesses to Douglas? I haven't heard anything from our economic development. I don't know what's going on. You know, is there new businesses? We were told about this Sandalwood Suite that was going to come in. I haven't heard anything more about that. Have they decided to go elsewhere? Are they still coming to Douglas? And the major concern that I hear from my constituents is there's lack of communication. We don't communicate to the public what's going on. We have to let the public know what we talk about. And yes, I understand that what we discuss in executive session cannot be discussed with the public, but still, we come out here and we mention some of it. So the constituents and the citizens of Douglas need to know what's going on. They need more transparency. We used to get weekly updates on what's going on. We haven't gotten it in a long time. The dispatch also needs to be made aware. They need to be told what's going on so they can publish something in the paper so that our constituents know. And I mentioned to you, Mayor, the other day that communication starts at the top, and that starts with you. And I'm not trying to say anything bad, but we have to work together, and it has to start with you, and you have to bring us together. You have to find a way to unite us again. Too much time has gone by. Too many things have happened. There's a lot of issues that need to be worked on, and I don't want to mention here. You know which ones I'm talking about. But we have to find a way to move Douglas forward, and we need to find a way to help the citizens to make this a better community. And I agree, we do have good schools here. There's a lot of good programs. We need to find something more. That's what I have to say now.
Thank you. I don't really have much to say. I understood the meeting was to see how we could work together. And the only comment, well, I shouldn't say the only comment because I'll probably think of another one later, but one of my biggest heroes in my life once expressed that no one is as smart as all of us. And I think that's a key that we may have forgotten. Individual and by individual and three individual priorities have taken precedence over at least discussing it amongst all of us before decisions were made and directions were given. And that's a concern, and if it continues to be the theme of this council, then it's going to be difficult for our community members to be able to participate. And that's also the biggest issue that I receive from my constituents, which are all of our constituents, by the way. I think any of them that live in the community are our constituents, is that they don't feel that they've been told the whole story They've been told partial stories. They've been told after the fact stories. And so I'm not 100% sure how we can mend that fence other than go forward and be as open as possible to be able to show them that yes, we have seen some things that we fell short on, and let's try to work together to make sure that that does not happen again. And so again, I go back to that statement of no single one of us is as smart as all of us. And when you multiply that by our beautiful community and our beautiful constituents and citizens that live here, we have to see what ideas are out there and what we can do. And I also think that all of us have to be willing to also say that your idea may not be the best idea right now. That we need to put that on hold. We need to look at some other things, some priorities, and try to prioritize. We have limited resources, and that's always a factor in any time you want to do anything in this life. Whether you want to go to Disneyland Orlando, or whether you want to go see the shootout at Tombstone. It's all about economics, and to be able to make that function. So again, in summary, I think we need to do a much better job on being able to discuss issues openly and out in front, so that everybody has an opportunity, agree or disagree, to be able to voice their opinion civilly, kindly, but also with passion, because when you're passionate about something, you should express it. So I applaud the effort. I'm glad that we're talking about it. There's, again, some things I don't know how they're going to ever heal over, or if they do, they may be a big scar, but I hope they can. I really, really hope that it's possible. I was born and raised here also. Margaret didn't mention when she graduated, but her and I graduated in the same decade. And from good old Douglas High School on. It's our hometown.
Mayor, man. I can appreciate everybody's input, of course. I'm just thinking that, in my long history, I've had an opportunity to work with 4 city managers and numerous mayors in this time. Let me just say that Mike Ortega was city manager, had a vision that Douglas needed to capitalize on the government entities that are here. And it was through his vision, of course, partnering with the county and other people, that we built the government center. And that's a fabulous thing. And then the next city manager, Mr. Shook, and let me just say that administrations overlap. The Port of Entry has been going on forever. And they talked about that when I moved to town in the 80s. And we're still talking about it, but a lot of that is out of our hands. That's the thing. We can tell them what we want, we can mention it, we can control people, but it's up to them. And I'm one of these people that I don't believe the city or the taxpayers should be doing all of this. And like Mr. Hewish mentioned, we don't have a lot of money to throw around. So I think what we better to serve the people are to put it locally. And I'm going to say again, see to the things that we can do, capitalize on. Mr. Shook has a vision of getting the call center. And of course that overlapped. And so that brought jobs here. And that was a good thing. And that's still here. Now that, the city did pay 0.3% sales tax, to fund that. But that's over now. Let's take that 3/10 and let's redirect it to something else. What's the next vision that we can use? What should be our next vision? What we would do on those to capitalize on something that we have. That would be what I always think about. So, I'll let us just ruminate on that for a while. Thank you.
I'd like to express that each of you we all have something in common. And I believe that we all want the very best for our community. And we are uniquely passionate about in which direction we want to take the city of Douglas. Councilwoman Margaret Morales said something that was striking. And as I've done before, Ms. Robles, if you interrupt again, unfortunately, we are not going to continue this conversation because it's unfair for you to speak out of order while we're having an intimate conversation. So I ask that you please respect our setting right now, please. Councilwoman Morales said something that struck me. And as I've done in the past, I apologize to you if you don't feel that I've included you in the conversation. And I can sincerely apologize to all of the council members at this table, as well as the people of Douglas, if in any shape or form they've been hurt by any decision that I made. But I can certainly tell you all, both around the table and the public, is that I've made decisions based in the city's best interest. Never once have I held an agenda thinking about myself. Because if that was the case, then why are we here? If I certainly had an agenda, politically, as I've heard before, then why at this stage of the game would you want to make such a drastic movement? See, the downtown project early on was a huge focus, and as Mrs. Morales brought up, we signed up for Main Street America a while back. I've yet to see any development unfold in that particular project. And that Main Street America project is a project that's supposed to emphasize and focus on how do we rebuild, restructure, reinvest in our downtown. So I'm with you. I'm still waiting for that information to develop.
Where did that come from? Where did that start? Was there a plan set in place for that, or?
So Jim signed up for it, and that information never was developed. So I just have limited information. I know that I told him about it because in part of the presentation, whenever I would do the city address, I would talk about those projects and how important it is for us to reinvest in the downtown. Like currently we have $18,000 in our downtown. I asked Mr. Mendoza to provide an actual outline of what we spent. Since 2018 to now, we spent $6,000 in the downtown district. But they are all purchases of equipment, or light bulbs, or tools. So people are asking, where are we investing and putting the money back? Well, there's no plan in place. And you're right, it starts from the top. And I can take responsibility when you say to me, Mayor, where have you been? And I apologize to you. Moving from this moment on, I would love to see you at the AMC, at the bi-national meetings in Washington, D.C., as we're promoting one of the most important projects that I feel, in my opinion, we cracked open.
I definitely would like to be there.
So, and that's the part of the conversation that I want us to have tonight, because we're so focused and we put so much energy and negativity. Can you imagine if that same energy and negativity is put into shopping in one of the stores in downtown, a La Familia? or Mr. Lego store, or at Lon store, or at the gym, or at Blueberry Cafe. But yet we're so focused on things that are not going to help us.
A couple of things. One, some people have commitments and they can't go to those meetings. I think what excuse me for speaking for you and correct me if I'm wrong, it's just that information needs to come back. And so for those that may not be able to attend, or for whatever reason that information would need to come back, we'd all love to have all the time in the world to do and go and do those things. But Mayor, I think, the example that you just gave about Main Street America, you mentioned you talked with Jim about it, and seeing those type of things, maybe there's a Main Street, Arizona that somebody may know about, and so we need to discuss that. What would be better for the downtown? Main Street America or whatever. I can't come up with a good name right now. But any other programs that may be out there. And so I think that the direction would be better to discuss in the council meeting and say that, hey, we want to focus the time and effort on the downtown.
Yes.
Would you please go see what programs are available and come back to us in a couple of months, and so that we can look at them and see, maybe for a study session, which ones, let's take a closer look at this one. Councilman Grijalva says, you know what, I really like this one. This one looks really, really good. So can we please take a look at that one? And so I think that's kind of the thing that I think would help.
Sure.
For everyone involved, and the community can say, hey, we have these things. Mitch may have somebody back in the Dakotas that he knows, and they tried that and it didn't work, or they tried it and these are some of the pitfalls. So those kind of things, are out there that maybe we could, I guess, broaden the input.
I think that's a good observation. The reason why I talked about the Nature America program is because that same program was implemented in Tucson. So the person that I put Jim in contact with was supposed to come back and provide an actual presentation of that program and how it can help a downtown rural community like Douglas.
Mary, I would think it would help too that in my tenure, this is my third term on the city council. Thanks to my constituents, they must have faith in me I'm making good decisions in their benefit. But whenever you or any of us go somewhere, I think it's up to us to make a report the next time we come back. I know that I've always done that. I do that on the school board. Whenever we go somewhere, it's because we're public servants. And we owe it to the public. When you go to the AMC or everybody that goes to the AMC should be making their report on what they've done, what the benefits that they hope to derive. I know that we used to do that. I know Mr. Morales and I, when we would go to the League City in previous years, we would come back, make reports. And I think that's a needed thing that hasn't been done lately. Thank you.
I have a set of I have a list of certain items that were important, and Mr. Grijalva, you were there. Mrs. Morales, I'm not sure if Mr. Hewitt was there and the rest of the council, but we talked about abandoned houses and how we were supposed to set aside some actual funding for that. And that information hasn't been provided. And I don't remember the last time that we were. Was that July? I can't remember.
It's been a while.
That's before that. It had to be before the budget was finalized.
Right.
So I'm hoping I just taking different ideas and hearing you all. I also talked about an MOU with Cochise College. Why is an MOU important at this moment? here are some of the things I've experienced, and I'd like to get your feedback on this. So when we invite people from the AMC that we interact with, or the League of Cities, they come here, and I provide them with how great and amazing our community is, the potential it has. They ask me to provide them with a direction or a general plan of where the city will be growing. And why are they asking that right now? Well, because we've written letters, like I said, to the President. The Commissioner of the Department of Homeland Security has indicated that Douglas, Arizona is on a priority list of a modernization of the program, of the Port of Entry, excuse me. So that's why we cracked open this project. If we want jobs here, we have to be ready as a governing body so that we're providing this information to the rest of the investors that are coming in. And MOU is important with Cochise College because if we have a company like Frito-Lay that's interested in building here, they want to see logistics. And we don't have that. We haven't had it for a while. So every single time that we're championing our community and we bring it here, the conversation isn't followed through. And I'd like to hear how we can change that moving forward.
Maybe one way to do that would be when we discuss something, that maybe two council members work on that particular project and see what our resources are and then bring that information back to the council and see how we move forward on it.
Mayor, I was on the Planning and Zoning Commission when we did the master plan in 2002. And they misspelled my name, by the way, on the document. Like, I was on there, and truthfully, that's so long ago, I don't remember what's in it. I'll have to refresh my ideas. But I was also on the planning and zoning when we captured the Walmart store down in the new location. And so those type of things, I think we need to partner more with other entities. You know, for locally things, I think we should be partnering with the Chamber of Commerce, the Senate, Chamber of Commerce. Maybe they can help us with, the golf club tournaments, across the line, things like that, so that the taxpayers can't fund everything. I don't believe that the city should be involved in everything. We have to partner with the other entities. As far as Cochise College, #1 college in the whole country, and they have a small business department that we should be tapping into, and maybe they've got ideas that they can, that we can use. I want to say one other thing though, that generally economic activity is on Fifth Street. It's not going to come down to GI. And in many respects, that's a shame because we have some wonderful buildings down there and wonderful businesses. But you have to let them grow where they're going to grow. I don't think the city can direct where the people can grow. So they're going to go where the economics drive them. Now, I did have an idea on, you mentioned that the vacant building. If I remember correctly, that program started to get too expensive because they couldn't take all the building material to the landfill. That cost a lot of money. So my idea is I do believe we own property, the city owns property, where the old Haney place was. And possibly we can explore the idea of taking the buildings and the inert materials and creating our own specific landfill down there on that property, and that way we can save the transfer fee money and still accomplish what we need to do to beautify our city. This is an idea. Thank you.
Mr. Lindeman, we also have some vacant buildings on Fifth Street because Safeway, closed. And from what I understand, an investor purchased that property from Texas, and they were going to put a mini mall in there. And that never happened either. You've got Fowler that closed down there, Stage and Penny, they're struggling right now, so, what can we do to help them? Because, people are driving the service, and now they're going to Tucson, so we need to find a way to help those businesses so that they don't close, because they are in danger of closing.
That's wonderful. Then you're right. Off the top of my head, perhaps, with our street improvement plan, and I don't know how much of those parking lots are private, but there's a partnership that we could help JCPenney improve their parking lot. Maybe that would draw more people in, because I know it doesn't matter. I have a four-wheel drive truck. It's hard for me to drive from the front over. But anyway, this time.
What's the missing not here? Is this on? And I think sometimes, I agree with both of you. I think that's a major problem, but we have to leave everything on the table also. You had a post on Facebook a while back where you reached out to companies, you reached out to the theater. They all told you, you don't have enough disposable income. Our citizens, our residents in Douglas are have too high of bills. We can't be begging people to come over here knowing that they're going to say no. We have to look at every situation with logic and realistically. If we want businesses to come, maybe we have to put everything on the table. Let's see how we can save our residents money. What we can do for them without putting a lot of burden on the taxpayers. Mrs. Morales, you mentioned the Davis Building, and you also mentioned the community center. This is where I need to be more informative with all of you. I went into Ms. Watson's office, I went to the mayor's office, and said, we need to get that community center going. Why aren't we talking about that building? Why aren't we writing grants? Why do we always have to say raise taxes? Why can't we reach out to sports teams? If it's going to be a community center, there's going to be things that are going to be played there. Why aren't we reaching out to people who can help us? I think sometimes we have to think outside the box. We have to not depend so much on our residents to carry that burden. We also, that's why we're here, to be that vocal representation, to get others to help us. I also think, and again, I want to bring up the uncomfortable topics because they're out there. We talk about the Port of Entry project. I've had law enforcement in whatever, in different kinds of uniforms say, I've been told don't live in Douglas. It's not a good place to live in. It's something I don't want to hear. I don't like to hear, but I think we need to hear. How can we be more welcoming? They're out there protecting us in whatever way they are, whether it's customs, whether it's border patrol, whether it's the sheriff, our DPD, our fire department. They all do a great job. We need to be more welcoming. We just can't be expecting people to just come and live here because it's the greatest border community in the state of Arizona. But we need to reach out to people to come here. We need to be welcoming. We need to give incentives. When we went to those AMCs, I reached out to the companies and I told them about the tax plan that was adopted. That wasn't even really an incentive. They had to hire a certain number of employees. By the time you hire those certain number of employees, the incentive is not an incentive anymore. We need to be logical when we think about these situations. We need to think like business owners. What would make us want to come to Douglas? Sometimes we have to think like other people because we're biased. We love our city. We think everybody should come and set up shop here, but that's not realistic. At the same time, we have to be thinking from outside the box sometimes. So now we have a grant writer. Why aren't we getting together and saying where should we move in that direction? It can't be seven individuals going into one individual's office and saying I need grants for this, and this. We need to have one vision, and I think that's the only way to move forward. We do need to have more communication, and again, that's on me also. I'm going to apologize for that. It's just something that, maybe more of these, maybe if that's the only way we can come together. We all live different lives, but I'll be honest with you. when we go and we sit up there, it sort of feels like it's an uncomfortable situation, especially when you're being streamed now. But sitting in a round table like this, I've become more comfortable now. And I think, and I thank the SWAT for coming up with this, because if we didn't do this, you know, whatever happens after this is because of this. So we need to be more communicative, more cooperative, more communicative. We have to remember that even though there's 17,000, I think that's the count for Douglas, not a lot of people get to be in this situation. This is such a unique situation. This is a bond that this council has that nobody else is going to have because of the individuals here. So, you know, you can ask the city council. I have a bunch of opinions. I have a bunch of ideas. I've bugged him about a lot of my ideas. Now I'll bug all of you when it comes to that, because I think, you know, that's the only way to move forward.
Yeah, I'll agree with your comment there. A lot of times they don't want to live here. I think we need to come out with statistics, because let me tell you, after we did build the fence right here, man, I used to have 25 to 75 people run down my alley every night. And, man, I haven't seen any in 2 years, maybe 40. One of the former chief of police was a good friend of mine. And he said after they built that car thefts went down, and house thefts went down, everything went down after we had that fence, you know, put up several miles on each way here on the border. So, we have a very safe place. I think any of you should feel safe. If somebody's in your backyard, you made a 911 call, I would think within 2 minutes you might have the Border Patrol, Customs, Sheriff, Douglas Police there, and there might be 4, 5, 6 people there within 2 minutes. So we do live in a very safe place. And that's one of the things I like to stress. You know, I might be up in Phoenix or Tucson. Oh, we live in Douglas. Ooh, well, how bad is it? Well, you know, they start all this below. And I tell them, you know, yeah. I said, you know, this is one of the safest places you would want to be. And I think we need to get that word out.
From an economic perspective, obviously income is a factor in any person that's looking to open a business wants to see their return on the investment. Unfortunately for us, I've come in contact with several people that don't count Agua Prieta in their studies. So it's sort of, they just see 17,000 and they'll see our surrounding communities, but they don't take into account the fact that we have a border with our sister city. So how do we bring this together? How do we compartment this vision so we can start streaming economic development? And I've talked numerous of times about the Port of Entry project, but I think that this is the most crucial time right now, because if we don't capitalize on the attention that we're having right now, I think that we might miss it. A couple of days ago, I invited Mr. Kulish to participate in a phone conference with the White House to talk about trade. So Douglas, Arizona, here you go. Folks, Douglas, Arizona is in the conversation not just on local, state, county, to the federal level. And we need to capitalize this attention that we have so we can bring, so your kids can have the opportunities that they deserve in their community. So your daughter can come back from Utah, so she can have an opportunity here. So your son can come back here and do the things that he wants to do. This is the time for us to talk about our differences so we can turn that page and get back on exactly where we were, which is moving the city of Douglas in that direction where there is disposable income, where people can remodel their houses if they want to, where we're now investing and we're matching whatever investor wants to come in here, if it's 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, that we're matching that if they're going to put any money in the downtown district. That's where I want the leadership to come from our CEO. I want that person to come in here with that vision that's going to inspire the whole community to say, I, as an 18-year-old entrepreneur, I'm going to invest in the downtown district because the city of Douglas has just provided me with a set of incentives. They want me to succeed. But when we put all these stipulations on some of our entrepreneurs, it doesn't motivate them. I've been a business owner before. It's hard in an economy, in a community where you can't have a full-time employee sometimes. So I want us to come together. This is the first time that we ever had this level of conversation or even a retreat. And I'm no longer going to talk about the past. As of tonight, I'm talking about the future. I'm talking about capitalizing. I don't care about parties. What I care about is the city of Douglas. So if I have to work with a Republican who is strong on whatever, and you're talking about Douglas, then we have something in common. And that's been such an important part of moving Douglas to the level of recognition, of readiness and respect that we've been asking for. Now there's this other article I read online, which is not even from a credible source, by the way. These are just people that like to just do things just to get attention. And I wasn't more surprised with the actual article. What I was surprised with the actual response of how proud the community of Douglas came out and said, that's false. So from statistics, they're getting to talk about us. Meanwhile, we have all these beautiful, incredible features, and that's what makes Douglas dynamic and special. So what I'm hoping tonight is that we can continue to build on a continuous vision that you can call me and you can pull my ear and say, Mayor, what are you doing? That you don't feel.
Can?
Yes. You can. I want you to feel as included as possible. I want you to be. You have a lot of experience here, and you bring your value is enormous in this conversation. And if I fail to do that, again, I apologize, because those were never my intentions. And I hope that tonight we can amend our differences and that we can come together to do what's right for the people of Douglas, Arizona.
And do we have a short break?
Let's do that.
Louis, how are you? I can walk. It's just coming up here, you know, those barriers, whatnot and everything. I'm just being very cautious about it. It's just when I go over a barrier or something, I want to make sure I don't fall. Because and then telling me that he's the one that he's one of the soon after now, she went all the way down. They took her to the hospital. She was talking. They put her in the surgery. She messed up. That's what they do. They scan for everything's free first. So I want to give a report. And I think it's been like it.
I got your letter today.
Oh, yeah.
Consideration for the budget.
This screen is not yet, it will be.
Yeah, I think they're just asking about we got this. I know they're going to be kind of thing, but whatever we can get. You know, report that I don't want to take up your time. I'm going to keep Hello. Good. I'm just walking there, exercise my legs. Oh, I'm strong enough. I don't expect that.
I like your legs.
Why? You know why I like this?
Does it come like that?
Yeah. I can find the keyholes when I go at night and turn the key. You didn't know I had fallen. I fell down an escalator in Las Vegas, to make it very short. I tumbled all the way down, ended up in the hospital. And I survived. You know, when I ended up down at the bottom, I started moving my legs and my foot to see if I wasn't there. And I said, I'm whole.
Did you win it?
Let me tell you the irony. This is I was going into the hotel, and there was an ambulance there with an EMT. And I said, you can go home. I didn't call you. That's the one that took me to the house. It was maybe 10 minutes later. They were in the
say hello and goodbye.
And they were at the top of the escalator, and so I fell. And I know. My knee, I lost my balance, and so they
when she knocked me down, I went backwards and I jumped.
Well, they wanted to take me to the hospital. I said, they'll find something else.
I wanted to tell them the truth. She just made a little scratch on her back.
No, but you know, my back. And I don't know. I can't go tomorrow. I don't have hospital. Don't let it go very long.
On the lighter side, we were skiing in Utah, and I saw this, and they would make it, I love you, Wendy, but they started wrong.
I don't know how old. As long as I can remember.
Look at that little bird.
You know, that's one thing, yes, to learn to laugh over the years. Still together. And when I came here, one day, we knew everybody was 45.
I had a big because
Like you.
Sorry, I got you later. It seems urgent, but when I say I had this call Miss Wendy, she had a comment. After I guess we heard it, and then I go, hey, you guys gonna plan next summer? Like, well, you know, I haven't done it. Yeah, I was in here, and then pretty much that's why there's no because yeah. Has that ever happened before? It's not. Oh, that's happening until the next appointment? Isn't that great? So what is it? Maybe I'll come. Yeah. That was I've never been able
After their woman got just didn't have no priority. So why didn't you write I have a very
So we're going to resume back to the meeting. So I think that we had a moment to eat, reflect, talk around the table on some of the things that we can build on, and I'll just go around the room so people can say sort of like closing remarks on what they hope to see moving forward. So you have it?
I would just like for the see us build on this meeting a little bit more, throwing out ideas, listening to our constituents, really looking at everything from their point of view, making that I'm, like I told you earlier, I'm not Republican, I'm an independent, because I don't know if you were hinting at me, working together, but that's what I sort of strive to do with you and with council members. I mean, before I got into office, I'm not going to lie, we got into it on Facebook, political-wise. Oh, no, you're doing this. But when, now that I'm in office, it's a different situation. You look at things differently. And I think we have to keep our constituents in mind, what we can do to help them. And really, like you said, with businesses, I forgot who I believe it was you, Mayor, that said, they feel overwhelmed with the stipulations that we put on them. Our job, I think, is to provide the minimum of what we should be providing them and really getting out of the way. I think the disposable income situation, that's the government getting in the way. The stipulations, that's the government getting in the way. We're supposed to be making everyone's lives easier, not more difficult. So, you know, and with that in mind, I mean, I hope that we can move on. I hope that we can now work together. I hope that now we can be brutally honest with each other. I mean, even to say I'm so brutally honest with you, when you do something I don't like, I'll probably not say it in the nicest way, but I mean, that's how you build a relationship. I'd rather tell you the honest truth instead of trying to, you know, sugarcoat anything. And I mean, that goes with the rest of the council members. So we need to have communication where, I mean, we need to communicate where we all stand, what we feel, so this doesn't happen again. So now we're comfortable having this discussion. So now we can come prepared to know what we're going to be saying, you know, what's on our mind. But that's what I hope we get out of this, that at the end of the day, whatever we vote on, whatever we believe, it's for the good of the city. And I think that's the end, that's the finish line that we're all striving for. How we get there, maybe we take a little turn to the right, maybe we take a little turn to the left, or we stay in the straight path. But we all have to come to the understanding that even though we think differently, our hearts to help out the community are in a good place.
I think this has been a very fruitful discussion. I want to thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mrs. Watson, for putting this together. And I hope that we can go. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. This was a much needed meeting that we needed to have. Like I said at the beginning, what I'm looking forward to is that team effort. That we're going to have a good time in the near future here to talk about what's the vision of this governing body. I would love for us as a group to utilize the PCs, which is mainly the communications. We've been talking about, and the common denominator here is communication. We need to talk to each other. We need to express our opinions. Like I always say, let's agree to disagree. That's okay as long as it helps, as long as we can have discussion. Communication, collaboration, and cooperation. I mean, those to me are the main things. This is one of the things that I always go by. So I'm looking forward to the near future for us to be in the same path, like Mr. Grijalva said, and look at what's the best. It's in the best interest for our constituents, the community, and this time.
Well, as I iterated a little bit ago, teamwork. As I said, I've been on a lot of teams, been coached, been on the teams, and many different situations in life. And so far, I haven't felt that yet. So I'm ready, willing, and able to be a team member. But you know, we're all going to have to work together if this is going to happen. Thank you.
Yes, I'm glad that we were able to meet tonight too, and I think there was a lot of good communication here, and again, like Mr. Soto said, it's all about communication, but it's also about transparency to our constituents. So we need to really be more open and let them know what's going on, so that they don't think we're hiding anything from them. That's what it all comes down to. So I do look forward to working with everybody and moving forward. Thank you.
A couple of things that come to mind. If you, in summing up, I'm going to digress. I was running through my mind about any businesses that have recently come into Douglas, and I see Mr. Doug Wright sitting out there, and he's come in and wanting to invest in our community. He's expanding his operation, his interest, and so I guess what I'm saying, it can be done. Mr. Arturo Torres and his family up at Bailar Entertainment, they're also been successful with what they've done. They did their research. They found something that would be needed in Douglas, some entertainment activity, They're now in the process, I understand, of expanding to make a little barbecue steak type operation out of that old bowling alley, for those of us that are old enough to remember the old bowling alley. And so there are some positive things like that are going on. Would I love to have them downtown? Yes, I would. But they're, as Mitch mentioned earlier, they are where they are, and we need to be supportive therein. And lastly, I don't want to sound negative, but we have lost the confidence of many members of our community. And it's going to take more than one meeting today. Again, it sounds a little negative, but it's not. What I'm trying to get at is that we're going to have to continually show that we're willing to invite the members of this community to this table and make this table so much bigger so that they're able to at least express what they feel might be in the best interests of Douglas, and so that they can see us discussing those things and out in the open deciding which direction we'd like to go. And so it's going to take some time. I wish it would be fixed by the March meeting, but I'm not sure it can be. And so I think that we need to be vigilant and really overemphasize at this point in time to try to regain some confidence that we've lost by our members of our community. They want to, more than anything that I am told, and what they call me about is that they want what's best for Douglas, like you've all said, but they want it done right. They want it done in the open. They don't want the appearance that certain factions, or certain factions, probably not a good term, for the benefit of a few and not of the whole. And perception is reality. I understand that may not be true, but the fact of the matter is that's how it's viewed right now, and we need to be vigilant again and doing our best to be able to, again, the big C word, communicate out there and be able to show that we truly do have the best interests of Douglas at hand. I don't have all the answers. I hope once we get together, we'll come up with an answer that will to be able to go forward. And I applaud each and every one of you for donating the time. I use the word donation because it's pretty close to it. And maybe I think we can go forward again with openness and being able to step by step regain that confidence.
Thank you, Mr. Yush. I'd like to close the team building meeting with several things that popped up from several council members on the table. Transparency, communication, and teamwork, and also reporting. Transparency, we're going to do things different. From this point on, when we are in executive session, the city attorney has to come back on the floor and report at least what took place there. It may not be fully disclosed as to what took place there because it's protected under law, but the public should be made aware of whether there's a direction, whether there's a conversation, or something should be said. We were doing things as they've been done in the past, and today we saw, and I realized that we made a mistake, and we're going to correct that moving forward. Communication. Communication is important because as I hear different narratives brewing without the actual facts, which by the way I am more than happy to share anything that I am at liberty to share with whomever wants to know what's been going on. I don't have anything to hide. I don't have anything that is going to benefit me. I was elected to lead and to move the city of Douglas forward. And like I said earlier, every decision that I've made has been in the best interest of the city. Teamwork. Tonight, my council members alluded that I have not been as inclusive. And as a leader, sometimes you have to own up to your mistakes. And tonight, I was willing to apologize to them if they felt that I have not been an included leader. And there's no manual that comes in when you're the mayor of Douglas that teaches you some of the things that you have to work on. If you all remember me, I used to make smoothies, and I was a barista, make coffee. In the snap of a finger, I became the mayor of Douglas, Arizona, without any experience. So yes, I will make mistakes. But through time, you reflect and you look back, and you own up to your mistakes. And tonight, I was willing to again admit that if I made any mistakes, I am sorry. And I apologize to my council members if they felt that their communication from the administration has not been sound. So in closing, I'm going to say that tonight is a start for a better discussion, a better way that we do business in the city of Douglas. This is a learning experience. And moving forward, we hope that this doesn't happen again. So thank you all for attending tonight's meeting. I hope that you can stay for the 6 o'clock meeting. Thank you so much. We have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Councilmember Shelton. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Morales. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Nay. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.